Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number.
Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing this beautiful Thursday morning, Friday, part 1? Hope you guys are doing well. All right, let's check in. Let me see who is here. Roll call. It's roll call time. Let me see who we got. We got Evelyn in the house. Good morning, honey child. How's that dash cam of yours working? Dash cam is good. All right. Happy Thursday. Robert is here. Good morning, Robert. Do you have your dash cam yet? Tell me you do, because I see y'all on these roadways. One guy yesterday, oh my gosh, I want to pull that off my dash cam. You got to see, I had to slam on my brakes. And you know, these new so-called fancier cars, they try to be driving for you, honey child. And I'd be like, listen, don't drive for me because I'm trying to pay attention. But they see a collision coming, they try to stop it. So they will actually slam on the brakes for you. The first time it happened, it almost scared me to death. Because to be honest, I did not know what the car was doing. It kind of overreacted actually. Because a guy, I was on Crew Road, a guy came out of his bicycle, or on his bicycle, I should say. And I saw him, but because I saw him and I wasn't braking, the car thought, I guess, she didn't see him. And it braked like a hard brake for me. And I was like, what on earth are you doing? Is the car broken? What's going on? What's going on around here? So it has some kind of I don't know all the fancy terms, but some kind of emergency braking accelerator, blah, 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 blah. And child, I was like, you not trying to drive for me though. This not no Tesla. Calm down. But yeah, it made a hard brake. So I adjusted it so it's not as sensitive. But yesterday, I pumped my brakes and the car pumped the brakes because this guy just pulled out right there on that spot street, a little further down, getting closer to oh God, what are those, South Shores? You know how they put up the cones? And so he was trying to come from the other side of the road. You know what? I got to pull up that footage and show y'all. Because these people are crazy. Let me see if I can pull it up from where I'm sitting. Let me see if I can connect to my camera from here. I'm not sure. It does say 6 feet, 6.5 feet or something. So we're going to test it. This is probably more than 6.5 feet. I have no clue. But let me check it out and see if it'll connect. Because I want to pull that. Yeah, I don't think it's not close enough. I don't think. Hold on. Let me see. So, yeah, I need to pull it because when you guys see that, you're going to be like, no, I'm not close enough. I need to be closer. Anyway, I'll grab it later. Somebody remind me. I am going to grab that footage. And yeah, I want to show you guys the hot mess that's called Cayman drivers. Boy, they special. And it's like a truck too. Wasn't no little small little Honda Fit trying to squeeze through coming from the wrong way. Because I don't think you're supposed to do that. Although it has openings like in some of the areas, I need to look and see if that's really permitting you to be trying to squeeze through like that. I was like, dude, what are you doing? And traffic, it's not like he had much leeway. Traffic was coming down. So everybody had to brake and so I figure we need to put him up and shame him a little bit for such bad driving. All right. By the way, we do have a dash cam order coming for next week. So link me up. The other one went very, very quickly. I think you guys are seeing that you cannot put a price tag on peace of mind. That's for sure. Or court evidence, apparently. Because, you know, when you got to go to court and show that it was actually their fault, you're going to want that dash cam. Believe me, you. Yes, sirree. All right, Jim, how you doing? Hi, Marshall. Hi, Melita. Strong Wilt is in the house. Olivia, good morning. Look at the beautiful Jean. Jean, you ready for me yet? Or are you still doing something else? I'm so excited. Okay, let's talk about a few things. We do have a guest coming in. Whenever she gets here, we'll segue over. But first of all, we have Sabrina Turner. She was on yesterday. You guys saw that. I'm ecstatic about her show. And so yesterday I went by her place and I wanted to do like a site visit. Like I'm really invested in my content creators. I want to make sure they're ready. And so I said, all right, I'm going to come by. From last week, I said, I need to come by. I need to see where you're at. Because there are different things that can happen in a room, you know, when you're recording and stuff, acoustics and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, we got all kind of tips and tricks in our little magic hat for content creators. So I said, right, let me come by, have a look at the room, see what kind of improvements need to be made. It's pretty much an empty space. So we got good bones to work with. I said, all right, we need some cushioning. We need to, because it's a little bit echoey, tall ceilings make it more echoey. So I'm like, all right, we got to do this. We got to do that. And I took the board over and I'm like, let's set it up. She got a new laptop for her business. I'm like, okay, let's connect it. And things just came together. Did you guys see how beautiful she looked? Now, I cannot tell you what camera she was using because this is a new Fandango camera that apparently is going to make us all look good. I need to get me one because I was like, wow, this thing making us all look good. I probably don't even have to look at me. I'm like, I don't even have to comb my hair in the morning with this new camera. I can just roll out of bed. So it looked amazing. She looked amazing. And considering it was like a no makeup moment, she was literally there, thanks, in her house dress. I was like, woo, this is the kind of camera that everybody should have. I love it. So she looked amazing. We just did a little test run online, and thank you guys so much for your feedback. Is Shaka Zulu here this morning? Shaka, did you see it? Because I know yesterday you were like, ooh, the quality of this video. Compare the before, and we're not done. That was just a little test run with the board. We're mainly testing the board. Irvlin says the dash cam is up and running, clear as day in the night. I love it. You see the lens quality. I know y'all be like, oh, Sandy, I can buy a little $200 camera. Yes, you can, but you're not going to get that type of quality in that price range. There's a difference. And when you got to go and review footage, you want to be able to see license plates. You want to be able to see that, oops, that's not a Honda Fit. That's a Suzuki, whatever. I don't even know what types of Suzuki. So it all makes a difference. Plain and straight, good morning. Ronald Ebanks in the house. Good morning to Island Pearl. Wee. Jane says, I'm on my way now to drop my car off to get it repaired. After I was rear-ended 3 weeks ago at the... And you didn't have a dash cam, did you? Normally, when you get rear-ended, those are pretty straightforward, but good to have the evidence in each year. Leanna, good morning. Hey, Shaka. Look at you. Hello there. So, yes, did you see your test footage from yesterday? Here's the joke about it. The test footage, it was a little less than 20 minutes, has 9.2 thousand views already. I think Sabrina's show is going to be absolutely amazing. And it's interesting. Big shout out to Tisha. Tisha. Well, hold on. There's two of them with a very similar. Look at me getting the gal name wrong now. My God. Tisha, not Trisha. That's another one. She did make an interesting comment about glasses. And so glasses can be tricky, because a lot of times what's reflected. Remember when you guys used to say, oh my gosh, Sandy, we can see in your glasses or on the screen behind you, what's on your screen, all kind of stuff. So anything like a lens, computers and stuff, they can be reflective. So there are things that we have to do to kind of work on those. It is difficult with glasses because especially if you're in front of a monitor, but you notice mine have that automatic, they need to be cleaned. They have that automatic, what's it called? Oh Lord, I have to try and remember all the fancy things they put on these transition lenses now, Jill. But anyway, it helps with the glare, is polarized. So it kind of has like a polarization and stuff built in for the sun. And, that helps when you're looking at the glare that you get. And that's why that camera kit comes with a polarized lens that you put on top of the regular lens. So when you install it, Kevin will do all those bits for you. Now, what Kevin doesn't do is he doesn't show you how to go through the settings and do all that stuff. So one day we're going to do that together because I do think that's important for you to go through each of the settings and then just, customize all of those things. So Irvlin, make sure you show up to class that day. We'll do a little tutorial on all of those things, but I need to get within range of my camera. So we'll see how best to figure that out. Okay, Jesus. Good morning. Oh, you didn't see it? Uh-huh. I was wondering whatever happened with the displaying of the picture quality. She spoke. Don't worry, we got you. All right, Leanna, stop exchange foreign licenses. I don't think that's really the problem, Liana. It's not the foreign licenses is the problem. It's other people. So, in other words, other people who've never driven before. They're the ones who come in, driving like a bat out of hell. And then it's like, irks. No, sir. Ay, ay, ay. It's challenging. Okay. All right, let me see here now. Okay, so good stuff. Lala, good morning to you. Jesus, buenos dias. Julius, good morning, good morning. Liana says, many people exchanging their foreign licenses without taking a written or driving test. Listen, even the people that are taking the test, the police commissioner said this. He said, it's not that they're not taking and passing the test. Maybe the test isn't rigorous enough. I'm not really sure. But there are other issues. Talking in the phone, careless driving, not paying attention, drinking and driving. So those are the real things that are causing a problem. It's not that they can't take a test and pass it, although some aren't even doing that either. I mean, that's a whole other issue. But that isn't really what's causing most of the accidents in our roadways. Shaka, I'm giving you a little preview. How does that look compared to yesterday? Give us your honest opinion. And this was like not her proper setup, so ignore the background. We're not in the room yet. But what do you think? I'm just saying. Looks good. Skin tone is great. Like I said, the glasses, we'll adjust that. And because she's going to be using a laptop, we can do a couple things with that. We can either put a privacy screen on it, which will cut down the glare. It'll cut down that blue light. Sometimes the positioning, the angle of the screen, like 45 degrees or whatever, you kind of tilt it. Actually, let me find out what size screen that laptop is, and we'll get her privacy screen. Yes, these are the things now you got to look for on Amazon, honey child. If we get a screen privacy cover that will cut down on the glare. Yes, so we'll look into that. I use one for my laptop because, you know, when I go to court and I be typing my little stories, I don't want nobody to be looking at what I'm typing, my court notes, honey chill. See, that is actually better than I expected. Just amazing. You sit there. CMR TV, we know what we're doing, you know. Hold on. That was my screen grabber application, sorry. Yes, leave it to us. We're getting there. K-Man 49er, what you say you had bad manners this morning? You didn't say good morning. He's the expert in all things. Thank you, Ben. He's the expert in all things lenses. And he says it's called Vantage Polarization. There you go. And yes, those have the CPL lens on them as well. Irvin says she's front of the class and center, ready to learn here today. I have the anti-reflective coating as well as clear. Yes, I know for sure I have the anti-reflective. I told him just put everything on there. I'm like, whatever it takes to make me see better. So now, remember, Ben, the last time we talked, my apologies, I was kind of getting into the transition lenses and stuff. Well into it. Took your recommendation, got the best quality lens available. And so I actually have 3 focal points, like up close reading, because when you get a certain age, honey child, apparently you need that. And then mid-range, and then further distance, and so on. Cayman Airways has been busy. Big shout out to my friends over at Cayman Airways. Can I just tell you? They have been doing a lot. I mean, seriously. Has anybody had the opportunity to try the Sir Turtle Clubs or Sir Turtle Sky Brewers yet? So I don't know if you've heard about this, but this is actually a very unique collaboration with the Cayman Islands Brewery. And so they have their own branded version of K-Brew. I'm excited about this. Now, you guys know I don't really drink, but challenge accepted. I have agreed that I'm going to take a sip, and Marlon will drink the rest of the bottle for me. And then I will let you guys know next week what I think of this collaboration. I want to look at the visuals of the can and stuff as well, because all of these things are important when you're trying to entice people to have a little sip. So I'll fill you guys in, but they're doing quite a bit, in terms of like branding, the experience in business class. I don't want to tell you guys about business class because I don't want y'all to be sitting there with me. I want those business class seats all for myself. But listen, they have improved recently the experience in business class. It's quite nice. So how many of you have sat in business class before? Raise your hands in the classroom. You be sneaking a little business class fare when you can. Remember how they used to give you the hot towel? Now, that's my favorite part. Smell like lemony, fresh and hot and whatever. But those were actually being reused, right? So, obviously they'd sanitize them, wash them and stuff like that. Well, now they have completely disposable ones that come in a little packet. They warm those up so they're still nice and warm. Because every time I get on the plane, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so freezing. Those are nice and warm and fresh. And so you use those and then they're disposable. Now you get proper cutlery, not the plastic stuff. You're getting a proper napkin. The experience has really been improved, in my opinion, significantly. And I absolutely love it. Now, one thing I think they got to bring back in terms of the food, and I don't know where they get the food from. I don't know who caters it exactly, but the food is good, except for I got one little complaint with the crackers and cheese, because that tends to be my favorite. I don't like really cold sandwiches and stuff. So crackers and cheese is like my favorite. What happened to the little jelly? You got to have a little bit of jelly there to make the crackers and cheese more enticing. So I don't know. The last couple of times it wasn't there, and I was like, do I have to? I'd be like you, Caymanians. Caymanians travel with hot sauce in your pocketbook. I know y'all. Well, I'm not a hot sauce person like that, but I'm going to be traveling with it, with the jam, like a little grape jam or jelly or something in my handbag. Ay. What a hot mess. So we're excited to try out the new K-Brew product. So here, let me tell you guys a little bit about this. Oh yes, I'm going to send Sabrina your positive comments there. Shaka Zulu, she'll be excited to see that you have given her the thumbs up and that you approve, yes, of the video quality. It looks good. And like I said, we were just, we were still testing it out and making sure she could receive calls and everything. And the phone number is being transferred. I think that started yesterday. So Monday, come hell or high water, CMR TV is going to go live in some form or another. So yes. All right. So let's talk about the K-Brew product a little bit. Nichelle, if you're ready, you just let me know. And we're going to segue to you here shortly. But I wanted to just inform people about this amazing collaboration with Cayman Airways and K-Brew. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity, quite frankly, for local products such as K-Brew to also, be featured, because of course, everybody wants to see Caymanian products, Caymanian owned companies, and they want to experience what this is all about. So have a look at this. Look at that. Yes, it's like Sky Beer, Sir Turtle's Sky Brew. So this is a collaboration between Cayman Airways and the Cayman Islands Brewery, K-Brew. It's the first known collaboration in the region, take that, between a Caribbean-based airline and a Caribbean beer company brand. So this is a fresh and new idea. I absolutely love it. Bringing some freshness to the whole marketing and collaboration efforts. So Cayman Airways and K-Brew have developed this very unique Cayman Pale Ale, which was meticulously crafted as an exceptional drinking experience at over 30,000 feet. Now check this out, right? That's their own version. They didn't just like take any beer off the shelf and just stick a label on it. This is an actual specialty crafted experience. Island Spirit, something for people to try that's completely different and unique. They say it has bold flavors from a classic India pale ale. These are fancy words for those of you who are in the beer business, delivering a uniquely smooth and refreshing character, carefully adjusted to shine at cruising altitude. So when I'm 30,000 feet, I can be like, ooh, let me sip it and see how smooth it is. Yes, honey chill. We're going to try it out. So we're going to smell it. We're going to taste it. We're going to hold the can. And in fact, they were saying that this is so interesting. Listen, there's a whole, listen, when it comes to your taste buds, drinks, beers, wines, all this amazing stuff. Did you know, this is an FYI, little, nugget of information. Did you know that dry air and lower pressures in an airplane cabin can actually reduce your sensitivity to sweet and salty flavors? Isn't that crazy? Just the altitude and the dry air, yes. Your ability to smell aromas, which is crucial to flavor perception, is also diminished. I guess maybe that's why, airplane food tastes a little bit differently. So this has been brewed with all of that in mind in order to make sure that you have this bold experience. So they've said, right, this is not just a regular beer. This is going to be a beer consumed at over 30,000 feet. So how do we ensure that the flavor, the sensory perception of taste and smell is central to how much someone will actually enjoy the nuances in the flavoring? Boy, I tell you, some smart brains out there making beer, apparently. I absolutely love it. So Lavana says, and we're better to do it than International Airline. So this is an amazing collaboration. Oh my gosh, Miss Morna says, where are the alerts this morning? I'm sorry. Please do not fire me from my hosting gig. Shame on me. Give me 1 second. I'm coming, Miss Morna. Let me get them. Let me get it, honey child. You're absolutely right. Falling down on the job here. Still 300 people online, but I didn't send out my notifications on WhatsApp. All right, doing it right now. So we got Facebook link, YouTube link, Instagram, folks. Good morning. I see you, honey child. Y'all are right there behaving yourselves. Remember when the Instagram folks used to misbehave all the time? They're so good now. They're becoming A students. I love it. Hold on. Oh, gosh. Oops, had to mute YouTube. My apologies. Yep, A students over there. All right, there you go, Miss Morna. I sent that out now, and I'm going to send it to the subgroups, Windsor Park, Washington Boulevard, and Caymanians in Florida. All right, let's get started. We have none other than the beautiful Nichelle Scott in the studio this morning. Good morning, ma'am. Just unmute yourself. And you broke one of my cardinal rules.
Glare.
Of joining the show. Why are you sitting in front of a window?
I was trying to be in front of a wall. It just didn't work out. Yeah. Would you like me to close my blinds, Sandy? Because I can.
No. You're not too bad.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. It's hard with like office spaces and stuff like that. Trust me.
Yeah.
I get it.
My snacks in the background too.
I see. Is that candy?
It's cookies, it's chips, because this is the customer service team. We don't have a vending machine. And you know what? Hungry customer service people are not friendly customer service people. So
okay. Well, when we have Carla on CMR TV, she's going to be asking you, where are the fresh fruits? Why are you not feeding them fresh fruits and some veggies and stuff? Carla's going to whip us all in shape, girl.
That too. So if I show up with donuts, I have to show up with fresh fruits as well to offset.
Okay.
Are you trying to make us unhealthy?
Good. Well, yes, Carla's another fantastic content creator who's joining the CMR TV team. She had me do a fitness routine the other day, girl. It was just sitting in a chair and I was breaking a sweat. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Well, Nichelle, it is always so good to see you here. And I know this time of month, it is now almost the end of June. We're going into July. And I know you're here to turn up the heat on us.
You know it.
Woo,
Talk about summer.
I have been feeling it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Record temperature heats. It's just one of those things, like every year it just keeps getting hotter and hotter. Like you feel like, okay, this is going to break a record. And, it just continues to get worse.
So far this year, it's actually been a little bit better than last year. Last year and the year before were two record-breaking years in terms of heat. I think we showed you a little graph as well that actually shows how huge the differences were. Different parts of the year, but last year, but even worse the year before that. Really high temperatures worldwide, globally.
Yep. And in fact, our friends in, I think it was the Bahamas, issued an alert just a couple days ago talking about the heat stroke risk, the increase in temperatures. The government actually issued a formal release to say, there is a heat index warning in place because it has been so incredibly hot. And we want our residents to be careful, especially if you work outdoors. But even sometimes people, seniors, they're at home. They may not have air conditioning, so they're trying to just utilize fans and stuff. You have got to be so careful. So this is what they sent out on the 22nd on Sunday. And it's health officials issue advisory in the face of heat index warnings. And they talk about excessive heat, severe heat, and then extremely severe heat, which the feel-like temperature is over 122 degrees. Wow.
For sure. So our health and safety team has been issuing advisories to our team as well, because I'm sure nearly anywhere you go, you will see a CUC crew at some point in time on your drive. So just trying to ensure that our team is safe and aware of the fact that it is very hot, taking frequent breaks, drinking a lot of liquids, preferably cooler liquids. And I think that advice, it doesn't just apply to our team, it applies to everyone who lives here. And just being conscious of the time. Like I saw someone jogging at 3 p.m. the other day. I was blown away. Like I'm moving like a sloth at 3 p.m., if I'm outside walking a mile or whatever the case may be, much less jogging. So we just have to be conscious of what that can do to us physically.
Yes, of course.
It's not just about what it does to our appliances. It's also what it does to us as people.
Absolutely. And of course, remember that the heat index is not the actual temperature, but how the body interprets that temperature. Most of us say like the feel like, what it feels like, right? So, it could be 97 degrees, but the feel like temperature could be 10, 15 degrees more. And heat stroke can be fatal if not treated promptly. And you've got to hydrate, use sunscreen, use hats, but really and truly try to stay out of the sun during those kind of peak hours during the day. So we know that as human beings, we're feeling the heat, but also guess what else is going to feel it? Our appliances, everything in our house is going to feel it. A couple weeks ago, Nichelle, I don't know if you heard me tell this story. I shared it on air already, but a couple weeks ago, I swore that my AC unit that does the living room area wasn't working. So I called my friends at Polar Bear. I was like, man, I'm burning up. I don't think it's changing life yet. It's just really hot. I can't take the heat. What is going on around here? And I said, I don't think the AC is working. These are, by the way, I replaced my units.
Okay.
More efficient. I've seen the bill come down quite a bit, actually. It definitely came down. The other ones were just aged and overworking themselves. So they came and they checked everything and they're like, it's working. It's just already hot and humid. And I said, what? He said, yeah, you should probably leave it on all the time and just adjust the temperature as you see fit. Because during the day, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll just open the door. Miss Stacey has the door open. We're letting in fresh air, whatever. And then when we start to get hot, we're like, okay, turn it on. We expect it to cool in an hour or two. I want to feel like it's 75. And that just wasn't happening. It's taken more to cool it because now the air, the outdoor temperature, everything is that much hotter.
So my advice is a little different, Sandy. And I love the people at Polar Bear. We have these conversations all the time. But my advice is usually to turn it, if not off, quite high during the day.
Yes. If you're not around, yeah.
Right. But I'm a huge supporter of smart thermostats. So I have smart thermostats in my house. So you can set the timer, you can set it on your phone, you can turn it on and off on your phone. So mine turns on about 2 hours before we typically come home, because we've figured out, and some of the smart thermostats will figure out for you how long it takes your unit to cool to the desired temperature. So either you can figure it out manually or you can set it up for it to figure out on its own. But I'll say to you what I tell my customers all the time. We don't drive to work and leave our car on in the parking lot while we're at work, right? Because if we did, we say, oh man, gas for my car is so expensive and my car keeps shutting off. It's the same thing with our houses. If we walk away and leave everything on in our houses, of course, then we're going to say, oh, wow, electricity is so expensive, but we're using electricity without using it. So everything's on and we're not there. So my advice slightly differs from theirs, but I know their advice is also in terms of the mechanics of the AC. So for an air conditioner to be more efficient, the engine running constantly is actually more efficient than on and off. But from a cost standpoint, it outweighs to leave it on versus the maintenance that you'll pay for turning it up or off when you're not at home.
Yeah. So yes, I mean, I think Polar Bear is looking at different things when they make that recommendation. They're just like, try to keep yourself cooler if that's what your aim is. But when you're thinking about that CUC bill, which you have to think about because you well know people are going to
they'll call me.
I know. Why is my bill higher? Why are you guys charging me more? I saw Cindy the other day. Oh, my CUC bill gone up by $100. I said, honey, child, it's that time of the year. And everybody swears. I'm so every year it's the same thing, but everybody swears I haven't done anything different.
Yes.
And yet when you look at your usage, you look at your kilowatt hours, that has gone up.
Yes.
So we did a challenge last year. I challenged somebody to show me a bill, right? Now that the summer months are here, and yes, your bill is going to go up. Show me a bill where your kilowatt hours have gone down, but your bill has gone up. No one has been able to do that yet.
We did have one, and it turned out that it had a brought forward balance.
Yeah, that was a tricky situation. So that wasn't a true. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love this situation this year because this time customers can really recognize what is consumption related because rates have gone down. So we have this little slide here just to really show that. And you don't have to trust the slide. You can pull up your December bill. The rates are on there. You can pull up your May bill. The rates are on there. The energy charge went down. The regulator reduced the license and regulatory fee. Government fuel duty has gone down. Fuel cost has gone down. Renewable energy has gone. The renewable energy charge has gone down. So, it's not rates. When you're seeing a big increase, you're seeing an increase because it's hotter and your consumption is increasing. And I see Palmer's comment that you've put up here that she ups her thermostat to 80 every day.
Yes.
So Palmer just I hope I have the name right, or is it backwards?
Irvin, yeah. Yeah.
The recommended temperature for if you're not at home, put it as high as 87. Because in the summer, it's 93 degrees out there. It's 93, 94 degrees. Your
Yes.
air conditioning, they say there's a 10-degree rule. It can really only cool 10 degrees less than it is outside in theory.
Mhm.
But if it's 93 outside and we set the AC at 80, that's a 13-degree difference. Your AC is still working pretty hard. Pretty hard.
In fact, I'm going to show you. I'm trying to remember my app that I can show you on my phone. But right now, my master bedroom is 86 degrees and it's 8:14 in the morning. Like, what the heck? Is that real? Oh my God. It's hot.
It is.
Wow.
It is.
Well,
and
yes.
I guess people struggle a little bit with recognizing how that impacts your AC, because I'm not an AC technician. I had to learn about this, right? We're thinking if we keep our thermostat at the same level, no difference, nothing, we've done nothing differently. What's hard to understand is that when it's hotter outside, then the air conditioning has to work harder to keep that same temperature. So if you had it at 80 or 72 degrees, let's say 72 degrees in January versus 72 degrees in May, and May was hot. It was hot. It's going to make a big difference.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
No, absolutely.
Yep, huge difference outside.
So what can we do? I mean, obviously, you guys come to just make us be very, very cautious about monitoring our consumption. Nobody's going to not use the AC. I hate to say it, but they're going to turn it on. So one recommendation you just gave is if you're not home, turn it off completely if you can.
Yes.
Or turn it up to high 80s.
Yes.
Okay.
And then when you are home, if on the southern side of your house, you can put the blinds or curtains, preferably blackout curtains, on the south side. I'm not suggesting you sit in darkness, but on the side that lets in heat. So my oldest son, his bedroom is on the southern side of the house. He just moved there because rooms were being shared, but now kids are too old to share rooms anymore, apparently, once they hit teenage years. And his room was so hot. It used to be the guest room. So I had to get creative, and we tinted his room windows because it had shades. We had blackout curtains, and that still was not enough. Like his room was just always so hot. So we put the tint on, and it has made such a massive difference. So there's lots of little ways, and not all of the ways that will break the bank. Yes, I definitely recommend spray foam, but do I recognize that that's not cost effective and not something that everyone can pull the trigger on right away? Absolutely. But little things, spray foam, smart thermostats, fans, the blackout curtains, so many little things that we can do, and changing habits will help during the summer. And we have a lot more to come.
Yes. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Sandy. Listen to you. Good morning, Mom.
Morning.
Listen to your AC do's and don'ts, to say some current, right? But I have a flip side to it.
Okay.
This is from my own experience also, right? So this is my flip side. I have an all concrete house, no sheetrock. Right?
Me too, honey.
Okay,
too.
I used to turn my AC on and off, and my light bill used to be like maybe $600-700 a month.
Yes.
Okay. Somebody said to me, why don't I leave the AC running? Because it will keep the insulation, which is in the walls, the concrete. Because when the concrete heats up, it holds the heat. When it cools, it holds the coolness. So they told me to keep it running, In the daytime, I put it at 80. At night is at 78. And my bill went down drastically. So for the last 10 or 12 years, my unit has been running consistently because it runs less. Because it takes less time. Okay, in the afternoon, we turn your unit on when the house is at 90-odd degrees. That unit will run constantly at least for 2 or 3 hours before it cools the room properly down to temperature. Okay, otherwise, like how my AC is, it runs, it it comes in every 25 minutes and it runs like for about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have paid substantially by doing that, you know, but everybody's thing is different, but it's from my own experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, turning the AC on and off doesn't necessarily help because the temperature is going to get back up to that heated level and the AC have to work it to bring it right back down. But if you leave it on and you have it on like on 80 for the day, when I get home, I can hear the AC come in and come out like every half hour. So it saves me money that way. I'm just putting that out there also, you know?
All right. So this is the conundrum. Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Nichelle, this is the conundrum people always have, right? And this is a question that we've asked on here every single summer, and you guys have been answering it. Is there a difference between just leaving it on, but at a higher temperature, and shutting it off completely? I already know the answer because I've been paying attention. I'm a good student. And I know despite these stories of, okay, this is what's happening in my house, if you shut something off completely, it can't use any power.
Correct. But he raises a very valid point. So depending on the way that a house is built will determine the way in which your energy is consumed. So concrete houses, he's absolutely correct. I think you probably heard Mr. Hughes say this as well. They act like ovens, right? Because they absorb the heat. And then at night, as it cools, it releases the heat. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
It's why so much of our construction now has foam on the exterior. And I would say to the caller, one of our recommendations is, you know, some people do after the fact, they will do sheetrock on the inside and put insulation between my older house, because my first house was a much older house, and that's how we worked around it. It had insulation between the concrete and the sheetrock on the inside, concrete walls on the outside, but that's how we help to create that heat barrier, right? So there's a lot of creative ways that you can do it. But yes, that will happen. It will hold heat. However, typically leaving your AC on 24/7 is still going to cost more than it running for 2 hours in the evening. Now, a lot of people think it's going to cost more for it to, you know, it's because it's running hard for 2 hours. So they're thinking about that spike in terms of the consumption and the peak in terms of the demand. That's for other jurisdictions where they charge based on demand. We do have those types of rates, but if you're not on that rate structure, it's not going to cost you more. But he's absolutely correct. A concrete house with no insulation on the walls will absorb that heat and then start to give it off in the night. A really, really valid point. I'm glad he raised it. We also have the other side of it where we have wooden houses and they have a lot of air gaps, right? Where the air escapes. And so if their air conditioning is on 24/7, they're paying way more than they should. There are ways around that too.
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, Caymanians love them a good concrete house, obviously, because we feel like it's just better built for storm protection and stuff, but it's not necessarily the best conduit for like it holds and retains heat, right? So you need proper insulation in your home.
Yeah.
And the walls, insulation, you know, around the walls, exterior walls and stuff like that matters, not just in the attic space.
That's
YouTuber, good morning, says, I don't get how we feel it's hotter outside and not think that the unit shouldn't have to work harder to keep the house cool. Sandy, even opening the doors and letting in the humid atmosphere could possibly have the units work harder. Absolutely. That's like when your kids are home during the summer. And people say, but I'm not doing anything differently. Yes, you are. The kids are home. Not only are they opening the doors and they're potentially leaving doors open, the refrigerator gets open more. I mean, what's wrong with these children, Nichelle? My daughter opens the door and stares in the fridge. And I'm just like, what are you doing? I said, close the fridge until you decide what you're going in there to look for.
Right. Have a plan.
Oh my goodness. Like, I don't know. Let me see. And, you know, that poor, you can hear the little motor start to kick in on the poor refrigerator as well. So absolutely, YouTuber, all of those things make a significant difference.
Yep.
That's why rental properties, you think, oh, well, these people are not going to be home. But when they are home, they're doing the most. Windows open, doors open, short-term vacation rentals. Oh my God, those people have no conscience.
We've had this conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
Open, in and out by the pool. They leave the sliding glass door open. It's like
Temperature at 60 degrees. Yes.
And then they turn the thermostat down to 60, thinking it's going to get cooler quicker.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy, freezing out your AC unit. Ceiling fans helped a lot. So I wanted to thank Sasha Tibbetts from CUC because I have ceiling fans mostly for decoration. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't really using them. And when he was on here and he said, oh, you could drop your temperature like, I don't know, 4 or 5 degrees or whatever by using a ceiling fan. I said, really? The feel like temperature. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So I must tell you that I find it difficult to sleep with a fan because I get very congested easily, my sinuses and stuff. But in my daughter's room, every night the fan is on. Nice quiet mode. And she now requests the fan. She's like, can you turn the fan on? And we can keep it right about 77 and everybody's good.
Yes, same. We have one in every room. I think you said you had the tower with like the little remote.
I think they're called Dreo or Dreo. And not to plug any more Amazon products or anything, but these are the best fans ever because guess what, Nichelle? They're smart fans. You have an app. So same thing. Before you get home, you turn on the AC. You can turn on the fan as well to circulate the air and to. So big shout out to the Dreo Smart Tower fans. 90 degrees oscillating fan, and they are fantastic. You can do them on the timer. You can, do your smart app right from your phone. These are wonderful. And sometimes they have them on sale. You get them at a really good price. But yeah, I love mine. And they're very, very quiet, like no sound.
I actually like the sound.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Yes.
I need to speak to your mom. She was probably singing lullabies to put you to bed. So you got used to the sound, or she was like rocking you. Like, I think babies get used to things very, very quickly. And that kind of like your whole life. If you were like a really quiet baby, your whole life, you're like, I can't have any sound. I need a dark room. I need all these things to sleep. But if you were used to like noise and whatever, or fan going, that's going to be you no matter what age.
I agree.
Look at this. There's a
smart. They're awesome.
Remote control.
They're really good. But so I have to make sure and share the tip that my CEO always shares, which is that fans, and you said it, they cool you in terms of cooling you at that moment. They don't actually cool the room. So it's a feel like temperature. Yep. So if you're not in the room, it's not worth burning the energy. Turn it off. Because then you're just using electricity for no good reason. It's not cooling the room like the AC does. Yeah. So have to make sure I point that one out.
Yes, got it. But there are times when, again, Saturdays, I was running up and down. It was hot. Oh, I just passed it on the sofa. I turned the fan on, and that just felt so good. Just have it off. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes. Listen, we all are in this heat together. I saw that New York had some sort of high temperatures the other day as well. They were doing heat index warnings, and it was hotter than in Cayman because of all their concrete jungle around them. So everything like foliage, trees, there's natural shading. Like, don't go buy a piece of land and just clear everything off. Think about how you can position your house when you build it, so that the house front isn't facing the sun. And if you've got natural shades and stuff, try to incorporate that into the building of your home. Like, we need to do more at the pre-construction and the construction phase of our homes, because there are ways to be more energy efficient. Do you know much about wood homes, Nichelle?
In what aspect?
Like how they retain heat, like whether that's a good conduit. Because I feel like there's not a whole lot of like wooden homes in Cayman, but Mr. Eden has a beautiful like wraparound porch, like full wood.
There are a lot more wooden homes than you know.
Really?
So yes, my mother.
Mr. Eden's like a cottage style, and I go in there and it's always so nice and cool.
Yeah. Well, so for wooden houses, they don't conduct heat in the way that a cement house does. However, wood typically has more ways for air to escape. But what a lot of people have done in an effort to modernize their homes is, for example, they'll put what, this might not be the correct term, but it's what I grew up calling it. They'll put marmorand on the outside of that, which creates like a sealing process, and that helps to prevent air escaping or getting in both ways. And it also gives the look of cement, which is where I said to you, there might be way more wood homes than you realize, because that's been done with a lot of homes that are wood.
Right.
So, and that helps in terms of with the heat and insulation. So once you have some type of way of sealing to ensure there's no cracks from the wood, you're good. And I see that you're sharing the average consumption. I know we've talked about this before, but just a reminder that Cayman, that yellow column is CUC, and the average monthly consumption for a residential customer compared to other Caribbean islands, our average residential customer uses a lot more electricity. So a lot of the other Caribbean countries, they still don't use AC as much as we do. So the 24/7 use of AC is not typical, and maybe they'll only have it in the bedrooms. So we also have to play a role. That's why we talk so much about energy efficiency, because if you want to keep on with the habits that you have, fine. But let's just try to find a way to make sure that the house is as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you raised the wooden homes. That's really valuable.
And I mean, not for anything, Michelle, as we would say, not for nothing, but this really demonstrates the type of users we are. We're almost double what other countries are using. That's crazy. Wow. I think we're just spoiled, and a lot of us don't want to admit it. I'll admit it. I'm spoiled. You know, there's certain luxuries in life that I'd be like, girl, please, I'm not living without that. And we have the luxury and the privilege. It's such a privilege to be able to have an AC unit. You know, when I go to Jamaica, it's different, you know? Yeah. I'm like, where's the central AC, honey chill?
But I have to, yes, I was about to say, sometimes I also have to recognize that we're different in that we're a lot flatter than most islands, because they do. I mean, certain parts of Jamaica you go to, I mean, it's just downright cool.
Yeah, it gets cool in the evenings, especially. Yeah, you get that mount breeze, which is nice. That is very nice. But yeah, during the day, it can still be very hot, and you're looking for like air conditioning all the time, and they're like, no, it's so cool down, man, so cool down. Like, oh my god.
And some lemonade, Sandy.
Some coconut water. Sit under the tree and relax. Absolutely. So Abby says, "Yep, I'll admit it. I can't sleep without AC, and if that makes us busy, then we are." Oh, it's rough out here, folks. It's really rough out here. But what I do try to do, again, because especially with you know, the bedroom, we're not in that room until it's like almost bedtime, right? So I try to leave that off because we've got different zoned units. I try to leave that off as long as possible, and then it cools down fairly quickly because it's only like pretty much doing the one area, and then I'm under the covers because then all of a sudden I'm cold. And I cannot sleep without covers. Do not even suggest it.
There's different times though. You know those blankets with like the holes. So they're almost like
I'm not under a blanket. I'm just under the top sheet.
Okay.
So it's not like it's a thick covering,
yes,
but I
that's
can't
fair.
have something over my body. It's like really weird.
Again.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
All right. So justice will be served says the reality is you can't be paying in nil from January, 250, 260, and boom, June, you're paying 550. Makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. It does though. I wish I had shared the consumption graph, or the temperature graph for the year for Cayman. And it does like a bell curve, right? So temperatures are a lot lower in January, February, March, and then from April, and they peak in September, very high temperatures. and
Yeah.
it really impacts how much we use. So that's
Yeah.
why I don't know, Justice, if you missed this slide earlier where we were showing that rates have gone down between December and May, but what I said to Sandy was I was so excited because this gives us an opportunity to talk about in May. What you're seeing is consumption. It is pure consumption. There's no rate increases. It's the opposite. You're seeing rate decreases. So when you saw your bill for May, which would have come out in June, early this month, that is all going to be based on consumption. It's not going to be based on any rate changes.
Yeah.
So and in fact,
costs have gone down. The
Yeah.
government, what impacts the license and regulatory fee? Because that's gone down as well.
So basically, the license and regulatory fees, it's a combination. There's a license fee that relates to the fees that we pay to the government, and the regulatory fee, the fees that we pay to the regulatory authority, OFREG or ERCO. And basically, that's calculated each year based on the cost that they put forward to us. It's usually a fairly fixed rate. And what we do is we analyze whether we're collecting that. And if that rate is not collecting, then the rate has to be adjusted up or down. And in this instance, the rate was adjusted down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So energy charge is down slightly. Regulatory fees down. The fuel is down a little bit, the government fuel duty. And then the fuel cost down a couple as well. So everything has gone down, but the bill's going to go up. And the only explanation for that is usage.
Yeah. Now, full disclosure, typically in June is when we see a rate change. So that we'll see if that's coming forward, if the regulator will be talking about that.
Yes.
But up to May, from between January and May, we've been seeing decreases so far.
Right. Can I ask you a question about the rate increase? Why not do it like January when the bills are kind of, or like why do it when the bills are going up anyway?
It's a really good question. So couple of things. The rate calculation is based on the audited results of CUC. And our year end is in December, and typically audited results come out around February or March. And then the calculation is then presented to the regulator, usually in March. And that gives them time to review, March till April, give or take, and then put forward any rate changes. So it's purely administrative why it's that way.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Everything to do with financials and all that fancy accounting stuff. All right. I kind of wondered that because I was like, boy, if you're trying to make yourself look good, put it on in January because then it doesn't feel as heavy.
I hear you.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay. All right. So global temperatures. Now let me put this in context, Nichelle. So this is 2024. As of 2 days ago, the U.S. started experiencing just on Monday its first heat wave, impacting nearly 160 million people, with temperatures this week expected to reach 102 degrees Fahrenheit in the New York metropolitan area. The country's first significant scorching heat wave of the year triggered health warnings across the board in places like Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, Boston. And Mayor Eric Adams said that the extreme heat will not just be uncomfortable and oppressive for New Yorkers, but it is expected to claim the lives of 500 people in the city of 8 million. Aww. And most of those people are going to be seniors, maybe some homeless people who can't get into air conditioning places and stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so sad. So he went on to say that it's going to be brutal and dangerous, and that if they don't treat it with this kind of understanding, that's what can happen. The death toll could even go up more because of this sweltering heat that is baking the city. Seniors, people with health problems, and those without air conditioning, please stay hydrated, seek help. They've even set up cooling stations, cooling centers at libraries and recreation facilities, and they're encouraging people, you don't have to go in the library to read a book. Just go sit down and grab some free AC because it is a scorcher out there.
I think
Yeah.
I think we have to acknowledge what we've done to our planet, Sandy. When we chop down trees constantly, when we're constantly clearing land, we all saw the difference that COVID made when everyone was forced to stay in place. Like the smog cleared in San Francisco, right? Like there was a marked difference in nature and the way that the world rebounded. So I think we have to be very cognizant of all of the little things that we do, from how much we drive to how much we fly, to how much electricity we use, since that's the topic we're on. But all of those things are what are playing a role in global temperatures. I think it's getting harder to feel that climate change is not a thing. And I will shamelessly tie this into the fact that this is a big part of why we're pushing for renewable energy, because we recognize it's an opportunity for us to reduce emissions and provide a cleaner form of energy. But it's us, it's the humans, it's what we're doing that's leading to this change. Yeah. So we have to, one, address the way that we operate, and to also work on making changes in the way that we live as well.
Yep. Triple digit heat, folks. So someone is asking what temperature, and I don't know if you know this, but what temperature should you put it at if you're leaving your dog at home?
So typically I would say to speak to your vet, but we have a dog at home as well. I ensure to leave water for him. Our thermostat goes to 87 in the day, but he has access to tile floor, and the tile remains cool for him to lie down. So once again, similar to the caller earlier, every habitat is different. If it's a situation where you have all carpeted floors, there's no way for the dog to get respite, that they're in a very hot situation, and your house gets hot very quickly. So even though my thermostat's at 87, my house actually rarely goes beyond 85 degrees because of the way that it's built. Right. We have very few windows on the south side, all of that kind of stuff, right? So, and it also depends on your dog. So I think there are some breeds like English bulldogs that cannot handle the heat. So you definitely have to talk to your vet. I don't want to give a temperature because it will depend on the breed of the dog, your house, your property, and all of those factors.
Yeah. So I asked AI the question, and they recommended an indoor temperature between 75 and 78.
Is that for a specific breed?
Avoid letting the temperature rise above 80 degrees, as excessive heat can be dangerous for dogs, especially with thicker coats or respiratory issues. The other thing I do during the summer is Zeus got his first summer cut this year. So he's down to practically no hair.
So do that too. But I would say we have a lot of people who keep dogs outside, and that's lower than the temperatures outside. So once again, I think it very much depends on the breed of dog.
Inside. Somebody came to my house the other day, and so what we do is we put Zeus in a little kennel when we go out. We don't normally let him roam all over because God knows what mess we'd come and find. We'd come and see him trying to figure out how to make his own omelet. Did you see last week when he got an omelet made for him? Chef Brown came in my kitchen and made Zeus an omelet.
Really?
I want his
like egg.
Oh, make Chef Brown make it. You might be surprised. But anyway, someone came by and they said, oh, Zeus has his own fan. So yes, he stays in his cage, and right by his cage, he has one of these tower fans, and we just turn it too.
Yep.
So he's always feeling cool.
We do some things.
Speaking of your pets, keeping them outside is more dangerous this time of year. Dogs have been known to have heat stroke and to die, even though you think, oh, but they're in a shaded area. Even in the shade, the feel like temperature can be extremely high. And again, they have a coat to contend with. They don't sweat. So, once you see them panting, you know that they're hot, giving them nice, cool water. Some dogs like ice. Coco was a fan of ice. She loved ice. When she heard you go to the ice machine, she came running. Zeus does not like ice as such, but I'll put a couple cubes in just to keep his water really nice and cool. Make sure they always have access to fresh, cool water for sure.
Yeah.
And then same thing with people. If they're elderly, if they're a puppy, if they have special needs, you've got to know that, you've got to be cognizant of how the temperature could impact them as well. Mm-hmm. And there's things that you can do, like bedding. Like if you're a person who gets hot at night, I saw Irvlin's comment about menopause that made me chuckle. She said, but menopause and 87 equals stress and anxiety, sis. We feel you. We feel you. But yes, there are beds and stuff, like certain sheets are cooler. And you can even do like the mattresses as well as the pillows that have foaming thing in them. So they work cooler and
they
stuff.
Do work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So you can adjust certain things in your environment that will make you feel cooler, which means then that you're going to spend less money because the AC doesn't have to drop quite as much. I must tell you that my core temperature, I'm one of those people that I don't need a lot of AC. Like I get hot, but then I cool down very, very quickly. So normally 78 degrees, even at night, is good for me. I'm good. Occasionally drop it down to 77. But yeah, I'm not a person, because some of y'all be like, oh, Sandy, I'm sleeping in 70 degrees. I'm like, what? That's the Arctic.
I've heard 62, Sandy. 62.
In your house?
Yes. We should do a poll and ask, what temperature is everyone keeping their AC on at night when they go to sleep.
You could not be my roommate, girl. Sorry.
Let us know. I want to know. I'm curious.
I would be like, under no circumstances. Morning, Miss Lucille, joining us from the UK. Even the UK was issuing some advisories. Miss Lucille, please be careful over there as well. Nichelle, it's always a pleasure to have you in the studio with us. And, again, just reminding us that the summer months are here, reminding us about consumption. The biggest contributor, folks, to your electricity are those big appliances, the AC unit, the refrigerators, and so on. So the temperatures are going to keep rising, and there are things that you can do to help yourself out. So energy efficiency remains a major focus for CUC. They're trying to remain more energy efficient themselves as an organization, even with the engines and stuff that they're using. And, so we all have to do our part. But households are struggling during the summer to just remain cool. So the temperature has risen. The heat is here for sure. But do a little bit here and there, and you'd be really surprised. And read your bill. Like, understand your bill, because again, people just look at the dollar amount. They're like, why is it going up again? I can't believe this. Not realizing when you look at the consumption, you look at the graphs, like CUC has the ability through their online portals where you can say every single time my bill gets to so much usage per day, notify. I used to do that for one of my retail locations, and girl, that's when I knew. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really, it kind of started to give me anxiety though, because I'd hear the notification come in and I'd be like, oh my God, turn the AC off, it's going up again.
Yes. But a lot of people find it helpful to know when they've hit that peak, and they want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Sandy. Really appreciate it.
As always. All right, folks, the heat is here, as they say. 936-2626 is the telephone number. And, it's important that we especially check in our seniors to ensure that they are remaining as cool as possible. Yes. Ay. All right, let me see now. Tomorrow is Friday, so we do have some guests coming in tomorrow. And they are... let me see. They are actually some additional content creators. So, yes. So there's some additional content creators. We've got Mr. Famous MP from Bermuda, who's going to be joining us talking about Territories Talk. And then we also have Miss Elizabeth, who is going to be joining us about the Art Beat. So excited about that. Yes. Let me see what else is going on here. Hold on one second. Yes. Uh-huh. All righty. Fantastic. Shaka, you're good. Justice, you're good. Let me see what else is going on. You know, some of you actually have little, I know if you're at work and you get hot, because of course you can't oftentimes tell your employer what temperature to put the AC at, right? They set it and forget it kind of vibe. You're either one of those people where your workplace keeps it very cold and you have to wear practically a jacket, or you might start to feel a little bit warmer and you have a personal fan at your desk. And I know that those personal fans are extremely helpful as well. So look for mattress toppers that have like a cooling element to it. I always see them at some of the local stores, pillows that also have that. So when you put your head down at night, it just feels a little bit cooler. Explore these options because trust me, it can really make a difference. Yep. Okay. Let me just see here. Okay. Let me see. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me see. Yep. Okay. Navigating a lot of different areas. Ay. Okay. All right. All right, so let me see what else we've got going on here. All right, so big news this morning. I'm sure a lot of you saw this particular news story. And this one was in relation to the environment. So James Bergstrom, your friend there, has been fined $40,000. A lot of you saying this is not enough of a fine. It needs to be way more than that for destroying quite a bit of buttonwood mangroves. Well, the summary court said they didn't really have a guideline on how to do this, how to fine him, but he's been fined through his company, Bond Creep Limited, which is a private landholding company owned by Caymanian lawyer James Bergstrom, for illegal removal of protected mangrove vegetation from environmentally sensitive property that he owns in East End. So the penalty was $30,000. That is a direct fine for the unauthorized clearing of the buttonwood mangroves, an additional $10,000 compensation payment for the restoration cost. All funds are going to be directed to the Environmental Protection Fund. So the case represents a significant moment in the Cayman Islands environmental law, where the courts grapple with balancing environmental interests against critical habitat, developers' interests, we should say, against the critical habitat protection. So there's a long winding story of how we got here. So basically, this Bond Creep Limited has been seen as kind of like a central figure in several high-profile environmental controversies across the islands. And the company, which basically serves as a landholding entity for Bergstrom, owns substantial acreage in East End that includes environmentally sensitive areas designated as critical habitat for the endangered blue iguana. And we know how endangered the blue iguana is. So this dates back to construction activities that began in 2018. Say what? And we're in what year? 2025? This took a hot minute. Lots of appeals and stuff. He's a lawyer, so you know how these things go, honey child. Once you're a lawyer, you can be fighting everybody. Let me take a bite of my fruit. Oh, what kind of kiwi is this? This kiwi looks... This is a different kind of kiwi. It's like a yellow kiwi or something. Oh, it's delicious. Having some fruit this morning. So the company started developing what they say was a trail system across its 300-acre residential agricultural property acquired in 2014. Environmental authorities discovered the unauthorized road construction in 2019, where they found a 30-foot wide access route being carved through ecologically sensitive primary habitat areas, which required planning approval. Now, the thing about this is the 30-foot wide cut through, this company was trying to argue was just a, what did they say it was? Like just a walking path or something? Well, that's a hell of a walking path. So yes, they tried to argue that this road, 30 foot, that sounds like a road to me, but they tried to say that it was actually just a trail. Like a hiking trail? Suspicious. Anywho, they tried to argue that, and so there was a lot of back and forth. So they said, because it's a hiking trail, we don't need planning approval. Well, construction continued for years while planning authorities appeared to look the other way. That's CPA. Despite the obvious scale and environmental impact of the work, only when protected mangrove species provided environmental authorities with clear jurisdiction did meaningful enforcement action finally occur, highlighting how environmental violations can persist when regulatory agencies fail to coordinate effectively to take decisive action. Well, this was one of those things where they were kind of getting away with it on a bit of a technicality in a way, right? Because again, they were like, oh no, this is a trail. And is a 30-foot really considered a trail? And CPA is like, we no business. Keep on going, honey chow. But then when they got to the mangroves, then that was like, aha, we will get you by hook or by crook. You destroyed mangroves. We're going to get you for that. And then maybe you can stop disturbing and destroying the blue iguanas as well. Anywho, the company maintained throughout the proceedings that the planning permission was unnecessary for their activities. And this position, again, remained problematic when the Buttonwood mangroves received protected status back in April of 2020. And it was retroactively covering vegetation that had been cleared during the initial construction phase. So then the case, again, was showing that there are some gaps in the environmental oversight and the regulatory coordination. And despite the environmental concerns that were raised by the Department of Environment and the National Conservation Council, the CPA, the Central Planning Authority, still granted Boncrete Limited after the fact permission for the road to continue in March of 2024. Let me take a bite of a strawberry here. Honey chow. All right, CPA. This decision prompted a successful legal challenge by the National Conservation Council, culminating in a landmark ruling by Justice Jalil Asif, forgive me if that's wrong, KC, in February. The court then declared that the CPA's retroactive permission was unlawful and found that proper environmental consultation requirements had not been met for development through critical blue iguana habitat. And the regulatory confusion was further complicated by timing issues. So the property's environmentally sensitive designation was made after construction had begun, to be fair, without the property owner's knowledge, creating a legal gray area that the courts had struggled to navigate. It's a hot mess. Anyway, needless to say, Chief Magistrate Angelin Hernandez faced the challenge of establishing environmental sentencing precedents in the absence of any local guidelines. So under the National Conservation Act provision, the penalties could reach $500,000, but the court consulted the UK judicial guidelines for comparable cases. And that's how they came up with the $30,000 amount of the actual fine, and then $10,000 for restoration. So there you have it. That's chump change to him, though. Trust me. He probably spends that on a vacation. That ain't no money to this company. I can assure you of that. So hopefully they will, and other people will be mindful of these things and how they impact the environment going forward. Justice will be served says, any more news on the missing guy from the Compass, Mr. Andrell? No, they've called off the search, and I don't think you're going to have anything further on that front. Unfortunately, I don't believe a body will be recovered. When you go off certain parts of the island in the water, if the search doesn't begin within probably an hour or two, not going to happen. Even 7 Mile Beach. Remember the school teacher that disappeared? And he was never found. They found his phone. Did somebody say 200 meters or 20 meters or something out? They found his phone in the water there. And the belief is, he was out drinking at whatever that bar was called at the time, and he probably just fell in the water, maybe passed out from drinking, and the ocean just took him away. Oh my God. By the time they realized he was missing and tried to find him, it was too late. Okay, so yesterday, Parliament had their official grand opening ceremony. The governor gave her throne speech during the opening of Parliament on Wednesday. And the governor commenced Cayman's democratic process and outlined key legislative and policy priorities for the new administration, who is led by Premier Andre Ebanks. Now, she did say that in her opinion, there has to be greater transparency and fairness in the electoral process. She highlighted the work of both the international and domestic observer missions who lauded Cayman's election management, but reiterated that calls for reform in campaign financing. So she talked about that specifically. And she also gave credit to the election supervisor, Mr. Wesley Howell, for what she termed as the first-class management of the election. And both observer missions raised again the need to update the campaign financing rules. So there's a lot of rules that, I guess are still problematic. There have been debates back and forth, but there has been no real, review of them with a view to updating the legislation. Now, today, Parliament is going to be in session. I guess it starts around 10 o'clock. And I'm advised and told that one of the motions that is coming today is going to be in relation to campaign reform, but we don't have the details as yet. We don't have the details as yet on that. So let me see if we have any. Let me see if we have the paper submissions as yet on what motions are being brought. All right. Okay. All righty, honey child. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Okay. So let me see here. Trying to put out a few little minor fires behind the scenes. So yes, Justice, as it relates to poor Andrell, my tweet him. I don't know what else to say. Island Pearl says, Auntie, if certain parts of land are protected, why can they be sold? Or maybe I'm misunderstanding. So I think this is one of those things, quite frankly, that when you purchase land, I guess you better be cognizant of where it is and any potential protections. But you see, this was an after the fact protection as well. And these things happen. But it is 300 acres. That's a lot of property. And not all 300 acres are, being inhabited by the endangered blue iguanas. And obviously all 300 acres doesn't have mangrove on it. So I'm trying to remember if they said what percentage actually had the blue iguanas, but as my memory serves me, I believe it is a rather small percentage, in fact. So, yep. Okay. 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 So I'm just trying to see if they've sent out the papers for the motions. I think there are 3 motions that are being brought today, but I don't see anything here. Okay. Yes. Yes, I don't see anything here. All right, sorry. Don't see anything there. We'll see if we can get them, but yeah, so that's going to be very interesting because we don't know what they're bringing. It'll be interesting though, because they're in a situation now where they are being fined. Well, not yet, but the matter has been referred to the POPO, to the police, and I guess the DPP's office for prosecution, and they can be fined up to $25,000 for overspending on the campaign. That's again, that is a very small drop in the bucket. So I don't know. What a mess. All right. Okay. Let me see here. Gabby says we need a mystery show, do missing persons and unsolved crimes. I don't know if there's enough of that for a show, because I mean, there's a couple cases, but let's be honest here. It's not like that could be a weekly show. You'd run out of content within 5 weeks, and some things are not as much of a mystery, Gabby, as you think. It's a mystery maybe to the average person who doesn't have the details, and the police are not into really revealing too many details. So they'll tell you to wait till the coroner's report comes out. So there were some fireworks yesterday, I understand, in Parliament. Apparently Kenneth Bryan, I heard, was in his feelings yet again. And he was going on and doing the most. Somebody sent me someone sent me a clip of him, but I think it was something from Radio Cayman or something. It wasn't from yesterday, but I heard he was trying to challenge Ralston. Not for nothing, but Kenneth wasn't an MP when Ralston was around, right? Does he not know the man comes with qualifications like a cold, hard piece of paper, a degree, and experience on top of it? And he was a minister before. This is not a fly-by-night operator, honey child. Ralston could be your match when you talk about the budget and stuff, because he's actually a CPA. He's actually qualified to talk about the budget. Kenneth, not so much so. Good morning, Carla.
Well, first of all, good morning, Sandra.
Hello.
I don't want to take you well, Sandra, I don't want to take you too much off your stride, but since you are mentioning Mr. Anglin and Kenneth Bryan, it seems to me there will be a lot of excitement between those two if there's anything that I'm detecting,
Yes.
So,
well, Kenneth has a lot of time and energy now sitting on the back bench with nothing else to do?
Well, yeah, his work has been halved, so now he's got time for a lot of other things. But I just hope that in the course of that, some good will come out of it. That's all we can do. Now, since you're talking about Parliament, I thought I should mention that yesterday when I was listening to Parliament, I heard two names. I heard the name of Leah Warren and another name of Ashton Warren.
Oh.
Two children who I know a little bit. And I said,
yes.
Are these Danny Warren Jr.'s
Yes,
kids?
that's right.
It turned out that they were, and both of them are in leadership positions in their school. And they were mentioned, I think it was by two different MPs as part of this practice that they've started doing. And I thought that I should call you and issue, first of all, congratulations to the children.
Yes.
But also issue congratulations to Danny Warren
That's
Jr.,
right.
who has been a single parent for close to 10 years now. I think from the time that he spearheaded the kind of medical cannabis up to now, he's been more or less a single parent. I assume he does get some help from here and there from the extended family. And I think he should be congratulated for being a good parent. So I should close by saying that he doesn't just talk, but he also lives the life. But let me finish with an attempt at a joke, but this one involves you. Now, I know that you also love your daughter, and by all accounts, she's doing very well. Even if your daughter gets ever mentioned in Parliament, you will never beat Danny Warren because he's got two kids, you only have one. So.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
yes,
I thought I should say something good about Danny Warren and his kids today. Thanks very much.
I really appreciate it. And someone did send that to me this morning, actually, mentioned that, let me just read the message again. Because yes, I did get a message in relation to this late yesterday. FYI, Ashton Warren, son of Denny and Lydia Warren, was among the invited guests to the House of Parliament gallery from Prospect Primary School on Wednesday. He's a prefect and is known for a firm handshake at this early age. Congrats to Ashton Warren, his parents and teachers. And our friend Baliki just mentioned his daughter as well. So doing extremely well academically. So congrats, Denny. And you know what, as Mr. Balika said, Denny is a single father, and these things are never easy. Unfortunately, his wife Lydia passed away, and trying to navigate that with two kids, even with help, is obviously going to be a very, very challenging situation. So I am extremely pleased to see the strides that the kids are making, and it just goes to show you what you put into your children is what you're going to get out. So parents, pull up your bootstraps, because a lot of you are blaming teachers and schools and the ministers of education. I'm not saying that all those things are not important, but one thing I do know, nothing beats a good household, no matter what. And that's where it starts. That's where the foundation of good habits, good work ethic, good study habits, all of that starts in the home, quite frankly. You can't expect your children to be running up and down the street all day long on their bicycles and never pick up a book and be geniuses in school. Hardly ever happens. You can't expect them to be undisciplined. And, exam time, they're going to do well. Some kids kind of skate by because, they hear something once and they have very good retention skills, but most of us have to work at it. And so, that's important. And Denny says, make sure the bedtime is at 8:00. Make sure they're getting sufficient rest, because their body has to recoup. The brain has to rest and go into recovery mode as well. So Justice says, I missed out, Auntie. What happened to the missing guy? You're going to have to go back, because we've done a whole show on it. And I would invite you to go back and have a listen. I don't really want to dredge it up again, because I'm sure for his friends and loved ones, it's not a easy conversation to keep having. Lucky Body says, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on MP Michael Miles? I'm giving everybody an opportunity, I know some people might feel a way about me because during the election, other people were critical of them and it was shared on the platform. So some people get up in their feelings. I've heard comments, I'm never going to go on her show. Whatever. whatever floats your boat. I mean, you're not hurting me if you never come in my show. Take a cue from the past government, please. However, I am optimistic. I am going to give the government a chance. Someone was messaging me yesterday. Oh, I hear the PPM gonna try a coup. Somebody must have said they're gonna try a foul coup. That only kind of coup they're getting into. I said, Lord Jesus, have mercy. They need to just stop it. I mean, it's too much. They're coming on. You have to have a good opposition. You have to have an opposition that is accurate and presenting, but an opposition that is in upset mode, that is up in their feelings 24/7. They're trying to attack other MPs and members of parliament that help to form the government. Y'all need to ease up a little bit, because nobody likes a sore loser. Nobody likes that kind of vibe and that type of attitude. And that's exactly what you're coming across as. I mean, I'm hearing that Barbara and what's the next one name there? David White are really, really pissed off. They decided not to run. And so now they're all up in their feelings. Well, here's the thing that is pretty wild, right? Barbara actually cursed me out on Sunday. I wasn't going to tell you guys this story, but since it kind of segues nicely into people who are in their feelings, I'm going to share it with you. It's still 9:15, so I can't use the exact words. But this is what happened. I had to drop something off after brunch at a location there. You know that little plaza in West Bay where Jake Scott is, right? So I went into the little bar. I was dropping off some plates. Well, I think the two people who were with her were her sisters. She opened the door and saw me and said, "Oh, my Sunday afternoon has just been ruined." I was like, So me being calm, cool, and collected said, I said to the establishment, I'm going to go. I don't want, bring in your customers. I'm going to go. See you later. And I went out and politely said to them, I was just dropping something off. You can feel free to go in. Well, don't know why I tried being nice to anybody. Huffing and puffing and, went toward Jake Scott, went back the other way. So one sister went inside of Jake Scott, and I don't know her sisters, so I can't tell you who's who and whatever. But one sister, because they look like her, went inside of Jake Scott. The other one and her were kind of walking like this way from my right, but kind of a little bit behind me. Because now I'm going back to the parking lot, going to my car to leave. I hear her mumble under her breath the B word. And I was like shocked. I turn around, getting whiplash. I said, "Excuse me?" Just like that. Excuse me? And she said, yes, you're a B. And I was like, clutching my pearls that I wasn't wearing. I said, what? Yes, you're a FB. Y'all fill in the blank, honey child. Guess the word. And I was like, And she's still walking all this time. And at this point now, she's about to walk into Jake Scott, the liquor store. And I said, really? I said, well, yes, I might be an FB, but you're an FW. Oh, Alexa, tell me she can help me. And I said, you guys adults fill in the blanks. And I said, yeah. And I said, guess what? I said, and go call Al then. What did I mention his name for? That's like her kryptonite, honey child. Love of her life, I guess. Side piece, love life, romance thing going on here. That, whiplash. It was like a moment from The Exorcist. That head spat around so quick. And she looked like she was going to come out that door at me. And I said, Lord, please don't make this woman step out of Jake Scott. And I have to defend myself because that's not going to be nice. Don't come thinking you're going to be attacking anybody now, crazy woman. Yeah, she gave herself whiplash and turned around glaring at me. I was like, whoa. You're the one who started this, honey child. Don't do it. Don't come. I was sitting there looking at her. My poor husband is sitting in the car. And my husband, in the 13 plus years that he has known me, he hasn't seen crazy yet. So can we not let the man see what Caymanian crazy could really look like? I'm just saying. So, Marlon would rather not have to see it. You can imagine. Almost 13 years and he hasn't seen crazy yet. That's so nice. He's so lucky. Anywho, that was her, honey child. And I was like, pump the brakes. And I'm wondering, why is she so upset? I mean, I've never, listen, as God is my witness, anything I have said about that woman is true. The leadership, the current leadership of the PPM, they won't believe that she's some kind of Mother Teresa and she's an angel. I said, really? Let me count the men in PPM. This one, that one, Fonzo, Alden, David, and then this one up in the ministry. I've kind of lost count on the bicycle riding and everybody having a turn on that doorknob. So you can call me a B. That's okay. That's fine. I probably am one. And you know what? I think she probably went out to brunch and had a little bit of liquid courage already in her. And then maybe the sisters gave her a little bit more courage. Good for her. Because there's a lot of people who think it, who wouldn't say it to my face. I'm like, listen, if you think I'm a B, then yeah, okay, say it to my face. That's great. But you're going to get a response. So yeah, you think I'm a B and I think you're a W. So there you go. And I got facts. You might think I'm a B for whatever, telling the truth, but I got facts. The people I can be counting. Yep, boy, that's some serious mileage right there. I mean, not for nothing. We've all made stupid mistakes in our lives and we've all fallen for people. Some of us, yes, for married men when he was telling you he wasn't married. But habitually, when you keep doing it and everybody know that that particular MP and leader of the country has been married for donkey years, and you still allowing yourself to be used. And not only is he using you in that way, but then he turns around and got his other side pieces, giving them presents and putting it on your credit card so the wife don't see it. It's like, what? So you're a W and dumb because you're letting these men out here use you like I don't even know what. It's ridiculous. And Jean says, well, I've never been offended by being called a B. I'd rather be a B than a W. Where's my kaboom button? Hello. Exactly. That's the same thing I'm saying. So I wasn't all that offended, but I still gave as good as I was taking. So I was like, girl, please go have several seats in the back. Prosperity. Purpose says she didn't know who she was dealing with or what. She was getting faced them on. I was like, where's she from again? They're from where? Georgetown? Are they towners? I said, I hear you there, Bobo. Island Purr says, oh, Lord, here we go again. PPM plus Kenneth himself has put him in such a position that as time passes, he's becoming more and more disliked by the people. Or is he showing his true self now? Well, that is a question to be answered because I'm a firm believer that you cannot hide your true self forever. So I will leave it up to you all who knew him before the world of politics to answer that question because I don't know, Island Pearl. Yep. So Lucky Body, to answer your question in summary, just like all other MPs, I am giving Mr. Miles a clean slate. He is, I think he's already made some wins in terms of immigration and will continue to monitor the situation. Michael, call me. Call your friend TD. Call me, okay? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sunday. I just came out of Mission in Action.
Oh my gosh, that was my excitement scream.
You got so much problems.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it.
To come up there and bring a smile to your face I'm not even looking at the computer right now.
Wow.
And I can imagine that face went into an animated. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying hello, and I just
thank you, Mr. Dexter.
Yeah, and before I go, I haven't told you a joke in a long time. A friend of mine said to me, he says, "How are you doing?" I says, "I'm doing just great."
Mm-hmm.
And and they it says, I'm so happy when I can't see and already forgot what I can't remember. I have been trying to stay young for so long that I'm getting middle aged while waiting to get old in the process.
Welcome back. Yes, Irvlin says, hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Did you take a vacation at least?
Oh, yes. I'm an international traveler. I went to Miami and then drove to the Florida Keys.
Oh, I love the Florida Keys. I must go back again. That was nice to go.
Yeah, it was nice. It reminds me, and I'm not a whole lot of change there, but I didn't do too much. You know, us old people just like to stay at home and watch the TV.
That's okay. A lot of young people doing that too.
Yeah, a friend of mine asked me how I felt about my getting old. I says, I feel like a newborn, no hair, no teeth, and just poop in my pants.
Thank you.
You take care.
So good to see you.
Do not ruffle your feathers, you know.
Oh, no.
And you always remember, if you hate somebody for what they've done to you, you become them. Who do you want to be?
Good one.
And when you hate somebody, you're carrying around a baggage that does not mean anything to them. They don't even remember you after you argue with them. So don't, just try to be as calm as you can and walk away from the situation.
Yeah, listen, I've never had a fight in my adult life. I don't believe in that kind of behavior. That's disgusting. However, if anybody, put their hands on me, then there is something called self-defense. That's a very different situation. But words, as Aunt Lotta used to say, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Thank you so much, Mr. Dexter.
You got to remember, it's not there are people out there just looking for attention.
Yeah, and some people are so happy. She strikes me as very unhappy. I mean, I was just oh, chill.
Every morning I get up and I thank God that I'm alive.
Yes, sir.
But not just alive, I got my senses.
Yes, and most importantly, you got your sense of humor.
Some people will, they get up and they don't even thank God for their senses because
that's true.
You close your eyes and you can't see anything. You can imagine getting up and being blind.
Yes.
I am so thankful that I am, I got a couple of aches and pains, but I never thought that I would appreciate them until now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it tells me I'm alive.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Dexter. Really appreciate hearing from you.
Sandra, you take care.
Thank you, my darling.
So I got my 15 minutes of fame.
Yes. Thank you, my dear.
And one last time, a friend of mine, my best friend, he's like a brother that I didn't have. He said to me, he says, you know what? It's better for you to be alive. Better for you to be dead and remembered than it is to be alive and forgotten.
That's a good one. True. Thank you, my darling. Yep. So good to hear your voice.
Okay, take care. And
thank you very much.
Your husband here, you call me darling.
Oh. Take care.
All right, take care. God bless.
Alrighty. Bye-bye. Oh, he'll be fine. Island Pearl says she's so frail your backside alone would knock her out the way with one push. Oh, Lord have mercy. You see me looking at the clock, 9:27, 9:28. We're off here. But I guess she felt confident thinking the other two would jump in for her. I don't even know if they would, to be honest, because one was already in there. She wasn't paying her no mind. And the other sister looked a little bit embarrassed. I mean, she kind of looked like she kind of smiled, but she almost looked like it was an embarrassing kind of smile. And now it's 9:28. Let me disconnect from the radio and tell y'all what I really think. Listen, I was like, you calling me a bit like, the first time she said it was so like under her breath. You bitch. And I was like, excuse me? Did I just hear you mumbling something? Okay, say it loud. And then she got bold. Yes, you're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're a fucking bitch. I said, okay. And I was actually remaining calmer than her. But I'm like, I can raise my voice too. I said, yes. And so what? You're a fucking whore. And the world continues to turn. It's not going to change the price of rice in China. Your life will continue and mine will too. So you'll be just fine. But when I mentioned Alden's name, I said, yeah, go call Alden. She like whipped around like she was coming back out. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, please don't do that. Don't do that, Bobo. Justice says he was sitting in the car. He didn't want to get beaten too, laughing out loud. Mine, Marlon, stop going out with you. No more brunch. No. He was sitting in the car because he was just dropping me off to return this. Nobody was staying. And I was coming back and I was having a quick little conversation. And then lo and behold, this Barbara showed up. And like she mad crazy. This person said, Dup, I knew who to frighten. Because I want the day she see me and say that, make me shift her face one side. Caymanians. When since Barbara got up off her back and get so bold, she stopped laying on her back for positions, old home wrecker. Well, Lord Jesus, please take the wheel. Yes, hallelujah. Can we get an amen up in here? Please take the wheel, Lord Jesus. I can't sing to save my life. Hallelujah. Highland Pearl says, for me, Sandy, that level of mindset and behavior is so high school, and yet she wanted to serve the people of Cayman. No, ma'am, we're not having that here. She needs to go continue clearly living her miserable life. Yes, so it seems like she is still upset, and I'm not going to run because Sandra said this, but I didn't say anything that wasn't true. This person calling her home wrecker, they would know. Because that person, one of the home wrecking situations is a family member. And she has, some people really do prefer a married man, though, I'm just saying. So, I mean, whatever. But don't be pretending and going to church and pretending like you're a good example in public office, because you're not. Irvin says, an ex-MP behaving in public like this? Like I said, I had to wonder if she'd been drinking already at brunch and was looking for more liquor, going to the liquor store again. Some of y'all be drinking too much and it makes you a little bit crazy. But yes, angry. I mean, the anger that was coming off of her. I responded in kind, but there wasn't really any anger. I was like, yep. And my comment was very matter-of-factly, honey Jill. Very matter-of-factly. And I was like, yep, go call Alden, see if he can rescue you. I'm sure his wife would be like, listen, don't go over there. He has to keep making out with the women in his lives of buying them brand new cars, putting a little bow on it and all that kind of foolishness. And they forgive him for his foolishness. He's another one. I'm not giving the women right. I'm also not giving the men right, because these men be lying to you, telling you all kind of stories. But when you're like a man number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, you might have to think about the fact that you could be the problem. Prosperity says, Mr. Sandra minding her own business. Mr. or Miss? Taking her little plates and the devil just showing up on a Sunday. Right? I was like, devil, get ye behind me, honey child. That's right. Today's Sunday, not on this holy day. KY345, Julia says, amen. The progressives have a pattern of recruiting women candidates with very similar characteristics. Not friendly and approachable, fake and Medusa syndrome. BC is not a nice person. Huh. What a heat. So who do they have now that are women candidates? They still have Juliana. Now they have Perlina as well. Ooh, yikes. Well, we're going to leave that one right alone. What a hot mess. Duppy knew who to frighten, boy, as them Caymanians would say. All righty then. Yep. It was a moment. I gotta tell you, I was like, what a mess. Strong Will says, Sandy, please stick to the media and leave the singing alone. You better know that. You know that, right, honey child? I can admit I can't, don't count on me to join no church choir. I will not be in the tenor section. Although, as bad as I sound, I have to tell you that you sound better when you're in the shower. Have you ever tried singing in the shower? What is it about shower acoustics that makes pretty much anybody sound good? Even to me. When you sing in the shower, it just sounds like you're bellowing a good tune. Yeah. But no, I can't sing. Not to save my life, sorry. God couldn't give me all the talents in the world. What a mess that would have been. That's a joke. All right, honey child, I'm done. I got to go make some brownies for my seniors. So thank you, Miss Sue. This place gets worse. Yes, what a mess. It is our luncheon today. I can smell Miss Stacy in the kitchen cooking up some stuff. We got chicken pasta for them today. We got seafood. Gonna do some brownies, some bread rolls. Think of the East End candidate too. I can't say Miss Julie or Donna have had the same characteristic, but the others. Oh, KY345. You don't know Miss Julie then. Maybe not Donna, but Miss Julie. She just undercover with her rudeness. No mess. Undercover with the bad behavior, hiding behind church frocks and stuff like that. Don't make that devil fool you, honey child. Anywho, you guys have a fantastic day. Love you like cooked food. And today we have some nice cooked food for our seniors in Georgetown. I go and I sit down with them for a little bit, play a little bit of dominoes, eat a little plate of food, have some good fellowship. And they're so appreciative of it. I mean, they're just so sweet. And boy, the food be good, I'm not gonna lie. And we try and mix it up. Like, we don't want to give them the same thing every month. So we've been doing, like, today we do chicken pasta and shrimp and seafood and coconut sauce. And then white rice. And we got raw veg. What else we got from? Some bread rolls. They be eating like a king today, kings and queens. And that's how all of our seniors should be treated. Beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to go put my brownies in the oven. I will see you guys tomorrow. Please tune in early. We got several guests coming on tomorrow for CMR TV. And you guys have a fantastic one. All right. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.